Hi, everybody. This is Sheila from Strategies for Success. Just coming to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and Happy Holidays. I did want to share a little framing Christmas story that will hopefully make you feel a little bit better and feel good. A few years ago, when I had a frame shop in Alaska, it had been a really good year, and we had pretty much got all our framing done. My team had come in, they're in the back, we're having Christmas cookies and just being silly and playing games and doing Secret Santa gifts and that type of thing. And I did sell some gifty type stuff in my store and Christmas decorations, and we had a few customers trickling in who were procrastinators just to buy some little Christmas gifts. So I had a couple of people trickling in, and I just happened to be out at the front. My team was in the back, and it was just kind of a goof off day. And a man and a little boy walked in, and the little boy had a piece of paper in his hand. I'm like, oh no, I hope they're not coming to frame something on Christmas Eve because I don't know if I can do it. And the man came up to the counter and the little boy, and the man was very apologetic. And he's like, I am so sorry, but I am desperate. I've been to every frame shop in town, which was like three because I'm in a really small town in Alaska. But there was a Michael's there, and there were two other just smaller independent frame shops like mine. And he goes, my boy did this drawing, and he really wants to give it to his mom for Christmas, and it just won't fit in a regular standard frame, and I can't cut any of this off because it goes right to the edge, and I know it's going to take a custom mat or something. Can you help a guy out? I'm like, well, yeah, sure. Let's see what we can do. So I had the little boy sit up at the counter, and I kind of treated him like, a real customer, like he was a grown up. And so I introduced myself and shook his hand and said, my name's Sheila, and I'm going to be your framer today. Tell me your name. It's Billy. Well, Billy, let's take a look at your art. And he had drawn a little vase of flowers and written up at the top, you are the best mom in the world. And he spelled world WURLD. And Merry Christmas, love Billy at the bottom. And I was like, oh. And it's written like, first grader writes. It was so freaking cute. And so I'm like, well, Billy, this is amazing. And I think I can tell you put a lot of love into this picture because I do. I love my mom. She's so great. I go, well, that's wonderful. So let's see what we can do to make this really special for your mom because I bet she's a really special lady. She is. She's a great mom. Like, okay. So we picked out some colors. I'm like, you have flowers here. What's your mom's favorite color? He's like, blue and yellow. I'm like, cool. So let me go in the back and see what I have and I see what we can do to make this picture look really nice. And so I just happened to have in the back a frame that had been a miscut and from the vendor. And so it was a free frame. They messed up and sent me a new one, and told me to keep the old one because it had been a chop sent in, and they're like, yeah, there's no point in sending it back. And so I had a free frame. I just kept it, and we all have a couple three frames in the back that are just sort of either miscuts or frames that have come from other pieces that were switched out with the customer or whatever. And I usually just save those for, framing emergency if somebody has a funeral or memorial or something, or for a donation, or for practice, and so yeah, I think all of us have a couple three frames. I try not to let the frame shop get too cluttered, but we all have those frames here. But this frame was exceptionally nice. It was a really expensive frame, and it was really, really pretty. And so I brought that frame out and I found a couple scraps of yellow and blue mat that I thought would match the flowers in his art. And we took him out there and kind of did the layout. He's like, yeah, that's really pretty. I'm like, cool. So let me add up some things. And so I entered all the items into my computer. And I was like, well, Billy, what kind of budget do you have today? What are you looking to spend? He goes, well, I have $15. Okay, well, that's fantastic because I think we can make this work. And he goes, yeah, I worked really hard. I shoveled my grandma's driveway and I shoveled my neighbor's driveway and I have $15 for that. Wow, you even worked really hard for that money. And so he's so stinking cute. And so I'm like, well, let me tell you, kind of bad news, but it might not be terrible news. It kind of depends on you. So when we add up everything for this frame job, it's about $350. And his face just fell. And he's like, that's a lot more than 15, right? And I go, yeah, it's a lot more than 15. But let me tell you something. I am really good friends with Santa Claus. In fact, where I'm from, when I was a little girl, I grew up in a town called Fairbanks. You know where that is? He goes, yeah, we've been up there. And I go, yeah, well, Fairbanks is right next to North Pole. Do you know, have you been to the Santa Claus house in North Pole? He goes, yeah, I've been there. It's really cool. So, North Pole Santa Claus house in Alaska is a real thing. You can Google it. And I said, well, you know what? My brother lives right next door to Santa Claus. And so I'm good friends with Santa Claus too. And he told me today that if I wanted to, I could give a really good boy a good boy discount. So let me ask you, and you got to tell me the truth. Have you been a good boy this year? He said, yeah, I've been a good boy. Like, I'm going to check with your dad. And so I asked his dad, I'm like, Dad, has Billy been a good boy this year? Is he telling me the truth? And his dad was like, oh, yeah, he's been a really good boy. Yeah, well, I'm so happy to hear that. So you get the good boy discount. And that good boy discount is about 96%. So that's going to make your order be about $12.50 with tax. Does that sound fair? And he's like, yeah, that's less than $15. Yeah, I could do that. Like, sweet. And I go, that means that you also have about $2.50 left over. So if you wanted to, you can go to the stationery store next door and you could buy a Christmas card for your mom and sign it for it. I bet she'd really like it. He goes, yeah, I could do that. And I go, well, it's probably going to take me about half an hour. So I just happen to have coupons for the ice cream store next door or the coffee shop next door. The little deal I'd worked out. We are all in a strip mall. And so we kind of gave each other coupons for little things to help each other out. And so I got, you can either have a free cup of cocoa or you can have an ice cream cone. Which would you rather do? He's like, ice cream cone. I'm like, is that okay, Dad? Yeah, sure. Okay. So I'm like, well, go have your ice cream cone, go buy your card, and probably by the time you're done with that, I should have your picture done. And so I took it back to my team in the back, and I'm like, okay, guys, this is our Christmas miracle. We're gonna make this picture amazing. So pull out all the stops, do whatever you got to do, and make this look cool. So I gave it to them, and they were super excited to do it. And so everybody really pitched in. One of my framers was a whiz on the wizard, and so she did like a little quickie path trace thing and made a really neat little design on it that kind of matched the flowers that he had drawn. And then my other framer found a fillet that almost perfectly matched the frame. And so I was like, oh yeah, yeah, we have time to put a fillet in there. So we threw that in there. We didn't throw it, we put it in very nicely. And then I found a piece of museum glass that I had laying around that was a smaller piece. And again, this art was like 13 by 15, so it wasn't very big. And usually with museum glass, I'm doing bigger pieces. It's rare that I put museum glass in a little piece, and it was just a leftover thing. It was rare. It was unlikely I was going to use it anytime in the near future. I threw that in. And so we hurried up, got the picture all done, and it looked really nice. I mean, it was super fancy. And, you know, I worked in a high-end gallery here in Las Vegas, and it was really cool because I got to frame a lot of really, truly fine art. I framed real Picassos and Warhols and Mito, Salvador Dali, uh, really famous artists that you only see like in fancy museums, in the MoMA or whatever, or the Met. And so I got to frame that stuff. And a lot of that art was worth hundreds of thousands, if not several $1 million more money than I'll probably ever see in my lifetime. But of all the fine art, museum quality stuff I've done in my life, and again, I'm grateful that I got to do that because most framers don't get that chance. But I love framing kids' art probably more than anything because that's going to sit on someone's wall and it's going to mean something every time they see it. So I love framing it. And honestly, a lot of the kids' art that I have framed is better than some of the crazy pop art stuff that I framed that's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So anyway, we framed Billy's art. It turned out great. They came back in and he freaked out. He was just so happy. And I just happened to have some wrapping paper. I'd been wrapping presents for my boy the night before because we have nice big design table, so it makes it really easy to wrap the presents and get it all done. And I go, I have some wrapping paper. How about I wrap this up for you, and we'll make it look really nice. And then you can write out your card, and probably by the time you're done writing out your card, I can have it all wrapped up for you. So I wrapped it up, and he was just beaming. And his dad was like, "Look, I will absolutely make up the difference on this. I do not expect you to do this at all." And I said, this is just our gift to you. And it made everybody happy and feel good. And I told him the situation. I'm like, I didn't pay, I'm not out of pocket on anything in here. In fact, some of this, you're almost doing me a favor by taking it because it's probably just going to end up in the trash anyway. It's all paid for. I'm not out of pocket. I got that $12.50. That just pays my team for the labor that they put into it. And it took us all of 10 minutes to do it. So no big deal. And we're happy to do it. So Merry Christmas. If you really want to help me out, please tell your friends, write us a Google review. That would be the best thing you could ever do for me. And so he said, absolutely. And so they left the store and everything was happy and we had a good time and sent my team home early and had my last customer pick up their last piece of art and closed my store and took my boy and we went home and had a Christmas and everything was great. So it was just our little warm, fuzzy Christmas miracle story that we had that we actually, it was a miracle that we had all that stuff in and it fit perfectly for the picture that he was doing. And I didn't think about it very much after that. And couple months later, it was February, and unfortunately, in Alaska, we always joke and say, people talk about hurricane force winds and, 10 feet of snow or whatever. And it's like, yeah, you know what we call that in Alaska? Thursday. It's like every day is like that. So we're used to bad weather, but we had some exceptionally bad weather. There were ice storms, freezing rain. Um, a lot of the tree limbs were breaking off, turning off power. Trees were falling onto houses and cars. And then on top of that, we ended up with like, 85, 90-mile-an-hour winds. People's roofs were blowing off. School was canceled, which almost never happens in Alaska. We almost never have snow days because it's every day is a snow day in Alaska. And so it was rare, but we had had some really, really bad weather, and that was keeping people inside. And February is normally a really slow month for us anyway. People are broke after Christmas, and uh, and so they're waiting for their tax return, and usually, about March, business picks up. But traditionally, February is a slow month, but it was exceptionally slow this year. Normally we'd get, 5 to 10 orders in a regular month. I mean, I was getting like maybe 2 orders and some days no orders a day. So it was getting bleak. And I know you've all been there where you're worried about, okay, how am I going to make this work, for this month? And it's like I'm not getting a paycheck and I got to figure out how to pay my people and, how am I going to keep this place running? And so I was getting a little bit panicky and I was sitting at the front desk, just I was by myself in the store and looking at my bills and going through paperwork to see where if I could magically make money appear. And this very nicely dressed man comes in. He's wearing his suit, and which is unusual in the tiny little town that I was in. And he walks in, but he's not carrying any art. I'm like, huh, I wonder what this guy wants. So I came up to the counter. I'm like, "Oh, hi, how you doing? Thanks for coming out. I know the weather's been horrible, so I really appreciate you coming into my shop. How can I help you today?" And he said, "Well, you might not remember me." I go, "Well, you look kind of familiar, but no, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. Have you had something framed here before?" And he goes, "Yeah, I did. I came in here on Christmas Eve and you framed a piece for $12 for my little boy." And I go, "Oh, cool. Yeah, I remember you. You're Billy's dad." Goes, yeah. And so he handed me his card, and of course these names are not real names, they're made up names, but story's true. Um, so he handed me his card and it said, William Smith, president of blah 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 bank in Alaska. And I was like, oh, okay. So you're here. I know that bank. I go, they're building the new office building, satellite office here in town. How's that going? And are you going to be working at that branch? He goes, yeah, I am. And actually, I'm the project manager for that bank. I go, oh, wow. Well, I put in a bid for the art in that building, but I hadn't heard back. But, if I get it, great. If I don't, that's okay. I wasn't expecting you to, but yeah, I wanted to do the art for that building because I think it's going to be really cool. He goes, well, I'm just here to tell you today, I have a contract. You got the bid for that, for the art. We're going to be doing about 100 pieces, and our budget is between 30 to $35,000. Do you think you could handle that? Like, can I handle it? Yeah, I'm having a heart attack right now because you're answering my prayers that I'm going to be able to pay my rent this and the light bill this month. So yeah, can I handle that? Heck yeah, I can handle it. I can start it right now. And so yeah, he gave me a deposit and I started ordering the materials and went over designs and stuff. And I had enough work from them for the next couple 3 months. And on top of that, of course, the weather cleared and my regular customers started coming in. So I had a really nice, $30,000 bonus over the next 3 or 4 months on top of just my regular work. So that little $350 frame that I gave away, more or less, uh, I got blessed by that about 100 times. And so it was just a really cool thing. And so I will leave you with this in my little Christmas podcast that as framers, we have an amazing job. We throw out little rocks of positivity and beautiful art into the world. And that positivity goes into the pool, and all those waves bounce around and hit other people, hopefully spreading more positivity. And sometimes those ripples can come back to you and bless your life. And that's what happened to me. We have the best job in the world. I love it. I love it. And I know all of you know this feeling when you take a piece out of the back, and usually it's something personal that you frame for someone. It's grandma's doily or, a shadow box of something, my grandpa's World War II medals or whatever. And you bring them out, and that customer, there's happy tears shed. And I shed tears because I'm a crier. And I mean, who gets to do that? And who has that reaction when they bring out this art? And that's going to hang on their wall for years and years. Long after I cross the Rainbow Bridge, that art will be there and blessing their family. I know Billy's mom is going to look at that picture every day and smile. And when he's a teenager and horrible, she's going to look at that picture and be like, okay, he was a really cool kid once. Maybe he'll grow out of the stage. When she passes, that picture's probably going to go to Billy, and he'll be able to show his kids and grandkids. So we get to live on, our creativity lives on and on other people's walls for generations. So it's a pretty cool job being a framer. So that's your Christmas story from Auntie Sheila, uh, coming through. I hope that it brought you a little bit of joy, and God bless you for all that you do. You're bringing beauty and positivity into this world, and we certainly need it now. So, with that, I wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and Happy Holidays. Happy Hanukkah. I know that's coming up. Also, just on a side note, I am starting a business consultancy for specifically for framers, and I want to help folks out. As talented as we are and creative as we are, a lot of us suffer in the business end of the framing store. So that's why I'm here, is to help you figure out your profit margins, maybe some of the productivity, help employee issues, do training for management, leadership training, that type of thing. So I'll have all kinds of cool stuff that can help your business run a lot smoother, a lot less headaches, a lot less stress, and teach you some of the things that maybe you don't know about different reports and how to do analysis and how to write a budget. And at the beginning of the year, especially, that's a good thing to do. Start making a plan for where you want your business to go in the coming year. So that's what I'm here for, is to help you be your coach, be your mentor, and hold your hand through the whole thing. I'm going to do what I wish I had someone do for me when I had my business. And so if you do subscribe to my services, I it's $30 a month, and you get a monthly magazine. I do weekly newsletters, also give you little special reminders during the week, online courses. We'll do webinars that you get access to at no charge. Also, I normally charge $100 an hour for my consultancy. If you don't subscribe, you get my services for $50 an hour plus you get two free calls within a quarter. You can either have two half-hour calls every other month, or you can have 1 hour call. And so I wish that I would have had someone calling me when I had my business just to be a coach and say, hey, how are things going? Where are you at? Where are you struggling? What's working? So let's take a note of that. We're setting goals. So that's what I'm going to do. Basically be your coach, your mentor, your friend, and and mostly I just want to help you be profitable. And so that's why I'm here. So whether your business has been established and maybe you're kind of stuck in a rut or you're just starting out, that's what I'm here for. So I hope I'll see some of you. I will be at WCAF. I don't have my own booth, but I'm going to be doing kind of business consulting stuff. Graciously, Mo with Framing POS has asked me to be part of his booth, and we're going to do some just mini classes for just 10, 15 minutes, just short little classes inside the booth, little seminars. And also, you will have the opportunity prior to WCAF to sign up if you'd like to have a, a personal meeting with me or a personal class. So I will be doing some of those things too. I don't want to step on anyone's toes at WCAF. They do amazing classes. So we can schedule some time, maybe like on Friday, when not as many people come. And the show floor isn't open that day. And if you're staying afterwards to attend the World Market, I live here in Las Vegas, so I can meet with you anytime the following week after WCAF as well. So I'm happy to meet with you in person. And if you're not going to be there, I can always meet with you via Zoom, and we can talk and see what's going on with your business. If you're just starting out with me, you get a half-hour consult for free, no obligation. I'm not hard sell. It's not a timeshare presentation or anything. I'll just tell you what I can do for you, and you can see if that's what you think you need to make your business more profitable and productive. So, with that, thanks for listening. Thank you so much. All of you have been so supportive in this new chapter in my life. I'm really excited about it, and I just love and care for you all. I appreciate my framing tribe. You folks are awesome. Framers are just the best people on the planet. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I hope I'll get to see you and talk to you soon.